my angry nerds, this is Fanboy, and welcome back to another Heart of the Swarm 1v1 pro game. Today's game is going to be brought to you by ASUS ROG Summer 2015. Today's game is going to be between FanTaSy in the top right corner as our blue Terran. And his opponent today is going to be BBoongBBoong. It's an interesting name, it's an interesting spelling, but it works. He is our Zerg, and he is down in the bottom right corner. Let's get this game underway, shall we? I don't know much about either one of these players. I have heard BBoongBBoong before. He's doing pretty well in the tournaments this year. I know he was a part of DreamHack. I know he was a part of DreamHack Summer, I'm pretty sure. And he was a part of oh, what is it called? Damn. WCS Season 2, I think. Premier Leagues. I've seen the name before. Just not very familiar with the players. FanTaSy has a Reaper on the way and is lulling himself in nice and slowly. He does have a command center and drops a mule immediately. What is BBoongBBoong up to? BBoongBBoong is going for not a real early hatch, but an early-ish expansion. Even though FanTaSy does not have a expansion. This Reaper does get out of the base alive, barely. He had like 3 HP left. The Queen was out already, so it was kind of not a void. So, you've got 2 Overlords on the map. Ooh, you've got 2 Reapers from FanTaSy. These 2 Reapers, I'm assuming, are just scouting around, just making sure nothing hinky is up. You've got a spawning pool done, but I don't see any lings quite yet being produced. And I forgot to open up the production tab. I am bad at my job. Yes, you can all scream at me in the comments. Go right ahead. But 2 Reapers do come up here. They are no match for 2 Queens, so they kind of get the heck out of Dodge. Wow, there's up to 3 Reapers on the map. 3 Reapers can do quite a bit of damage to drones. And if you see the confetti going on with the workers, you have basically when this game was played was right around the anniversary of Starcraft, and all 4 Reapers do go down for I think like 2 or 3 drone kills. That's not a very good trade-off. You do have a Roach Warrant. What is going on back at home for FanTaSy? FanTaSy is producing Hellions. Another command center. He's going to go up to 3. He does have a starport and does have a barracks, but I mean, he doesn't really have any units whatsoever. BBoongBBoong is just going to move out with 3, 4, 5 roaches to see what he can poke, and these Hellions are kind of just going to meet in the middle. These roaches just don't give a crap and are just going to go marching right to the front of the door. Will FanTaSy have much to hold onto this? At the moment, not so much. He will have a Banshee out, but will it be in time? I think so. Not until like some damage does get done. Mainly the supply depot. It looks like 1 hit on the orbital. These roaches are just kind of going to town, really. SUVs are pulled off the line to repair. They do leave. That supply depot does go down. There are a couple Marines here. There is a Banshee here, so these roaches probably kind of need to get out of Dodge right now, because this Banshee can just sit up here and shoot these things for eternity. And they do lose a Hellion, lose 2 Hellions, but all 6 or 5 roaches roughly do die. And it looks like FanTaSy is moving out with 4 Hellions, just to see what he can poke into. I just don't see there's a lot of damage that they can do with 2 queens here, another queen here, 3 roaches here. They are now on a suicide mission, just to see what they can roast. They do get possibly maybe another drone, possibly, but not the greatest trade-off. I don't know where that Hellion... There's that Banshee. That Banshee has 3 kills. It does spot the 3rd hatchery. So this is a normal, ordinary, for the most part, TvZ. Zerg is going up to 3 bases, while Terran is sitting on 2. The only difference is there are Banshees out for the Terran player, for FanTaSy. He has now 2. He does not have Cloak on the way. No, he does not have Cloak. So these roaches are just going to march out and see what damage they can do. These Banshees are going to come back home because FanTaSy just doesn't have a lot to defend back at home. He does have 1 siege tank, and he does have a barracks. He pulls off most of his workers and then returns them because these 2 Banshees here can just kind of sit here and, well, drive these roaches all the way home because they can't shoot up. Hellion does get into the mix. He already has 1 kill. He's going to have way more. He's now up to 2. The Queen does get here, but he already has 3 kills. A little bit of an overwhelming response to 1 Hellion. He does pull off 3 more Queens from his front. But the Hellions are here just trying to... not Hellions, but Banshees are here to try to pick off whatever they can. That one has 4. That one has 3. You have a major counterattack going on with a couple of roaches. You do have a siege tank on the high ground in that ledge, so that's always a good thing. FanTaSy does have a Viking just coming or trying to scout out overlords that are just sitting there. Changelings, bleh, you don't see those very often, are going to be scouting. Wow, you have BBoongBBoong that went up to mutas randomly, even though there is air present for FanTaSy. These very few mutas have to get out of the dodge because, well, they kind of just need to. BBoongBBoong is adding on to his muta flock. I don't think mass muta would be very effective in this game all that much because there are already missile turrets up pretty much everywhere. Yeah, I mean, there could be more, but, you know, level 1 and STEM is on the way. There is a bunker here and another factory. He's mining out gas like no one else's business, especially as a Terran. So, I think what you really need is a little bit more air. These little attacks with a couple Marines, couple Marauders, and 2 medevacs is real nice, and you get to hold the watchtower. But that mutaflock right there could easily kill this little army that's just kind of roaming around. Especially that army. That army could definitely die from that mutaflock. Is busting down the ramp, or the destructible debris here, just to have more than one path, I assume. That was the key. If this queen isn't careful, this queen's gonna die. Ooh, you've got bailing. Do you have bailing speed, I wonder? Yes, you do. Bailing speed is here, and I'm hoping FanTaSy does know that BBoongBBoong does have bailings, because if he doesn't, then this is going to be a bad news bears. Does lose 1 Marine for 1 muta. That was not a very good trade-off. What could happen Basically, if FanTaSy isn't aware that BoongBoong has Banelings, this army is pretty much just toast. Because there isn't really much meat to it. There's only a handful of Marauders. A Widowmine is here. And this is the great thing about Mutas. Mutas can basically just fly pretty much anywhere as long as there isn't any defense. Marines are stemmed up here, but there's just not enough. The Mutas do take down 2 add-ons. Wow, that's surprising. It's a good size army. There is 2 Widowmines that are deployed. Spread out's not the greatest, I don't think, because you have a large clump right here. And here come the Banelings and the Roaches and the Queen just to try to focus in. And the Mutas do join the fight. And this is just a one-sided fight for the most part. You do have a Thor out for FanTaSy, but I just don't think it's going to be... It's too little, too late, really. You've got Baneling, Roach, and Muta. The Mutas can easily take down the Medevacs, and you pretty much... That add-on's not going to finish. But this goes into a normal, ordinary Baneling bust, and you've just got complete and utter devastation. That's a lot of workers. That's 22 workers so far. You do have a small contingent of Marines on the high ground, or on the ramp, technically, trying to hold the Zerg onslaught. Where are the Mutas? The Mutas are right there. There is not much going on. Zerg is forced back, but FanTaSy is just taking way too much losses. You've got a third that's under attack by Muta and Ling that is killing pretty much every single worker here. The workers finally do try to get the hell ass out of Dodge, but I just don't think this army right here is capable enough to withstand this onslaught of Muta and Ling. This is overly effective. You have FanTaSy lifting up his command center just trying to get the hell ass out of Dodge. Widowmines do burrow. No. It gets triggered on a Zergling. But you just don't have enough Marine here and Marauder here to stem the tide of the Zergling plus the Muta. If FanTaSy doesn't pull something out of his hat, he's pretty much toast. Because BoongBoong was on 4 bases with more than enough hatcheries. BoongBoong basically got surprised, or not BoongBoong, but FanTaSy got surprised that BoongBoong had Mutas, Banelings, and Zerglings, and a couple Roaches mixed in. So, yeah. That was pretty much a one-sided fight, really, in my opinion. After he lost that command center down there, he was pretty much toast. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up. And if you want more, please subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!